All right, good evening. It's 6 p.m., October 7th, 2019. It's time to call the city council meeting to order. Ms. Rhodes, roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Abbott?
Yeah.
Mr. Austin?
Here.
Mr. Blankenship?
Here.
Mr. Eggers?
Here.
Mr. Hukin?
Here.
Mr. Richards?
Here.
Mr. Wertz? Sir, we have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Houston, please.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give thanks for the blessings you bestow upon us. We give thanks for our community, our state, and the country in which we live, where we are allowed to enjoy the many freedoms and blessings that have been given to us. We ask that you watch over those who watch over us, our fire and police departments, and also be with those that work on behalf of the city, that they are allowed to work in a safe environment. Be with us this evening as we conduct the business of the city. May the decisions we make be a reflection of our own desire to do what's best for all of our residents of our city. All this we ask in your name. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for attending tonight. Do we have any announcements? Do we have any presentations? Do we have any public comments? So, I guess I will say, since Lydia won't say anything, now we're Lydia Wells, our Franklin Township trustee. She was trustee of the year for the state of Indiana. Thank you, Lydia, for anybody else? Okay, that gets us to consent agenda.
Move to approve the meeting minutes for September 16, 2019.
Second. That's second by Mr. Austin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Move Mr. Abbott.
That was Mr. Abbott?
Yes, it was.
It was. Well, I should have known that accent, right? 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Abbott. Mr. Austin.
One more Patriots thing.
Yeah. All right, that gets us to the old business.
Move to read old business by title only.
Second. Second by Mr. Abbott. Okay, so we have a motion to second to read all by title only under old business. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing none. Item number 1, Common Council Budgetary Ordinance number 19-12, fixing and authorizing the payment of certain salaries of appointed officers and employees for the year 2020. Civil City, we had public hearing last council meeting, and it was introduced the council meeting before that. So, do we have any other questions from the council? Hearing none, I think we're ready for a motion to approve.
Sir,
Yes, ma'am?
if you don't mind,
Yep.
we did have, after looking it over, we just did on section 4, if you want to look, number F, letter F, we did have, we copied the on-call stipend and overtime pay. We copied that from Department DPW, and we didn't change it to MVH. And so we have made that change. It does not bother any of the budget. All it was a typo.
Do we have to approve Lynn with that comment?
Yeah, it's been submitted to you with the descriptors there corrected, so there's no reintroduction requirements or anything, we just corrected the descriptors there. Jane wanted to just point that out to you, instead of you, DPW is MVH, and that's just the descriptors there, so.
Okay, cool.
To answer your question, I think it's ready as presented to you now. That's correct.
I'll move for approval of budgetary ordinance number 1912 as amended.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second by Mr. Abbott. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll go to item number 2. Common Council Budgetary Ordinance number 19-13, fixing and authorizing the payment of certain salaries of appointed officers and employees for the year 2020 sewer utility. Again, it was, we had a public hearing last meeting. So any more comments or questions from the council? Hearing none, I think we're ready for a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Second by Mr. Eggers. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next, Common Council Budgetary Ordinance number 19-14, fixing the annual salaries and providing compensation for all elected officials for year 2020 elected officials. Again, same as the other prior to. We had a public hearing last council meeting. Was there any questions from the council? Hearing none. Ready for a motion to approve?
Move to approve ordinance 19-14.
Second.
Second by Mr. Richards. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none. We go to item number 4. Same as the previous. It was, we had a public hearing last council meeting. Common Council Budgetary Ordinance number 19-16, City of Franklin, Indiana Budgetary Appropriation and Tax Rate Ordinance for the year 2020. So does the council have any questions on this one? I'll just make a comment. We were talking with Sharon today. We did, with the tax caps, the circuit breaker, I think it's considered a $2.7 million loss that we have every single year with tax caps. I know it affects the schools, and the school usually has a bigger loss than the city of Franklin. I'm not sure where they're at. I just know ours was at 2.7 million this year. We were talking earlier, there was 1 year, there was a calculation that was wrong, that it was about 6 million, so thank goodness it wasn't that one. Anyway, is there any other questions? If not, we're ready for a motion to approve.
Move to approve 19-16.
Second.
Second by Mr. Richards. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you for, yes, Ms. Rhodes?
Yes, on this one, I need your signature, and I also need you to check how you vote.
Okay. And I just want to thank the council for the work that goes into the budget. That is the council's number one priority, is passing the budget. And I know being on the council for 8.5 years, I know we've all, that I was involved in over those years of trying to get our salaries where everybody feels is fair and on the same level playing field. And I think we're getting real close to that. So thank you guys for your hard work on the budget this year. Okay, thank you. That gets us to new business.
Move to read all new business by title only.
Second.
Second by Mr. Austin. We have a motion to read all new business by title only. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, we will go to Common Council Budgetary Resolution number 19-08, authorizing a transfer from record perpetuation services to record perpetuation supplies in the amount of $4,700 to purchase a copier. IT Director Rick Littleton.
Yes, Mayor, very simply, $4,700 transfer within the existing record perpetuation fund out of 300 services into 200 in the amount of $4,700. This is going to be used to purchase a new copier to replace an 11-year-old plus multifunction machine.
It's a city court.
Yes, that's pretty cool.
Solar on apples get expensive.
Yeah, it's getting ready.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's a resolution, so we can vote on it.
Yes, gentlemen, 1, 2, and 3 are all for action tonight, since they're just moving within, which is typically this time of year, moving within already appropriated areas.
I make a motion to approve common council budgetary resolution number 19-08.
Second.
Second by Mr. Austin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll go to item number 2. Common Council Budgetary Resolution number 19-09, authorizing a transfer from General Fund Fire Department capital to General Fund Fire Department supplies in the amount of $22,374.46. Fire Chief Dan McLeod.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, some good news. We received a FEMA grant for $223,744.54. And we applied for it last year and got good news a few weeks ago. The $22,374.46 is our 10% match that we have to do for this grant. So we're just asking to move the money that we can match that money.
It's in the current budget this year, and Dan's department wants to transfer it so they can pay the match.
Yes, sir.
So, Dan, I just want to say, thank you, Dawn and Deputy Chief. You guys done a good job on staying with this and getting the grant, so that helps the city and helps your department, so good job.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, I make a motion to approve common council budgetary resolution number 19-09.
Second. Motion and a second by Mr. Richards. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next, Common Council Budgetary Resolution number 19-10, authorizing a transfer from General Fund Fire Department capital to General Fund Fire Department services in the amount of $4,000. Fire Chief Dan McLeod.
Yes, this is kind of part 2 of this, awarding this grant. Besides Deputy Chief James and Donna Sullivan helping us with the grant, we did reach out to a grant writing company called Grant Source Professionals, which helped us put this grant together. And it's their fee, they get 8% of the grant awarded. They can go up to 8%, but they throw us a bone and only charge us $4,000. So again, we're moving money from our 400 series to 300, that we can pay that fee to be a grant writing company.
We had previously entered into a contract, if you'll recall, when this is not the first time we applied for this grant, but when we entered into the contract with them, that capped it at $4,000, that if they were successful, not successful, we were paying them, and so, for that $4,000, we got $222, that's pretty good.
Not a bad deal.
Not a bad return on our investment.
Very nice.
And Dan, before we get a motion here, the rest of that story, the radios at the end of this year was going to be at their life end, and we would have had to pay the money to go buy the radios.
Yeah, correct. Motorola, they call it the end of life. It's like every other computer, they want to phase them out over time. They're still going to work, but what happens is parts. They're no longer producing parts, so the display screen goes out or the antenna breaks, whatever's on the shelf, once they're used up, they're gone. So now we have a paperweight. So we knew this was coming, and 2 years ago, we, again, tried for the grant, wasn't successful. This 18, now 19, we applied for the grant. So this is a big win for the city, because it's almost $250,000 that we're going to be saving, because eventually we would have to replace the radios. And the radios are going to be all our handheld radios and the mobile radios on the trucks.
So at some point, there may be, did you tell me, 4 radios that we may have to replace somewhere else down the road?
Yeah, correct. We have, it's called Refusion, this is where Andrew's the expert at, but we have 4 mobile units, or 3 mobile units, right, in our radio cabinet. It's just kind of like the same radio that we have on our dashboard truck. FEMA kind of came back and said, we don't cover that, but we'll cover everything else. But they work, they're fine. Eventually, when they do go out, roughly to replace each one of those is $3,800. So as long as they work, we'll keep going down the road.
So-
And eventually, when they do go bad, then we'll be looking at replacing
if they go bad, do you have something to fall back on, or do they, when they go bad, are you out of radio? See what I'm saying?
Yeah, would it be the turnaround time if,
Yeah.
if the radio goes down?
We're gonna get back, the radios are actually owned by the county. So they're not our radios, and there's been talk back and forth, who's gonna get ownership of the radios, and we didn't wanna get that involved with FEMA, so we just went back to Heath and said, you know, they're yours, do what you want with them. Hopefully, you know, he may give us a spare to keep back. There's not been confirmation of what the county's gonna do with these radios yet. So our push would be is, let's keep a spare back, just in case one of those goes bad, and we can switch it out real quick and then find a new one.
If it's on the floor, would it make sense if one goes down, just replace all four, and they can have something that's a backup afterwards? That way there you have like items.
And there's three, and there's three, and we could, you know, I mean, and next year, we could sit there and, or if there's a little bit of money left over this year, we could go ahead and replace them out and be done with it. But even if one of those go bad, we still don't have an extra one sitting on the shelf. Now, Motorola may have a loaner they can loan us.
And Dan and I have already talked about this. I'm asking you questions, so I know what you're gonna ask, and that's why I'm trying to.
Come on, man.
So that's the plan, is one goes bad, we'll probably replace, and then we're talking about next year doing the replacement, because we know it's getting to the life cycle, correct? And we'll have it in the budget for next year. So that's what we're going with that.
That makes sense.
It's all like a plan.
Okay. So I guess we need a motion.
I make a motion to approve common council budgetary resolution number 19.
Second.
And a second by Mr. Austin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The next two are for introduction only. Common Council ordinance number 19-05, creating an RDA lease rental revenue bond 2019 fund for credit and roads.
Yes, this is just mainly for our housekeeping. It's for the RDA bond. That money is not under my department's control, but we would like to have a fund where we can see how the money is being spent, bills are being paid, just kind of a check and balance
Oversight.
on the RDA.
Is this the redevelopment commission?
Yes, and it's for the $10 million bond. And so we just need your okay to set this fund up. It's kind of like no better word, it's like a dummy fund, really, because.
We're mirroring the activity that the RDA and mutual bank are going to do. We're going to mirror it on our books. So that way, if anybody who wants to see, can look at it, city board of accounts can look at it. We want to do anything special in the year when we file our annual financial report.
And the public as well, correct?
Oh, yeah.
They're all,
Okay.
Good.
So let me just explain. The RDA is the redevelopment authority. There's three members to that. It's Bobna Amin, Josh Prine, who's here, and Les Tabling, who is here. They are the redevelopment authority who signed off on the bond. And talking with Mark Richards today, the bank is actually running, the A Bank Mutual is actually running the bills. As they come in, I think that Mark Richards, our city engineer, will go through, make sure the work's been done the way it's supposed to be done, and then I think one or two have to sign off of the redevelopment authority. It would either be one of the three people that I just named would have to sign off to get the bank to pay the bill. So that's what we would like.
and then you'll just be monitoring the whole thing, so we know our needs.
Okay, so that was introduction only. If anybody else has any questions, you can ask now or ask next meeting. We can try to get it for you ask it next meeting. Okay.
I like the oversight. Makes sense.
Okay, next item is also introduction only. Common Council Budgetary Ordinance number 19-18, an additional appropriation General Fund Police Services 101-007-300, $29,104.12. MVH Fund Services 201-001-300, $25,675.66. Parks Fund Capital 204-001-400, $8,734.97. Street Commissioner Brett Jones.
Good evening. I'm going to attempt to tell you a really long story in a short period of time, so bear with me here. But in our continued effort to make fleet improvements through all departments, we worked through Tim Holmes, who several of you know, and also through U.S. Bank, and did some, set up some municipal lease programs for police department, NVH and MS4 partnership, and then also the Parks Department, Parks and Cemetery. So technically we had 3 separate lease schedules set up with U.S. Bank. And basically what they did is we go through Board of Works, get approval, they escrow the money for us, and then as we make purchases, they distribute the funds to the appropriate vendor. Through this process, U.S. Bank at some point distributed proper amount of funds out of wrong schedule to correct vendor. So no money was incorrect, it was just the origination point was incorrect. So once we completed all of our purchases for all of those departments I listed previously, we realized that we had balances, but unfortunately from a budgetary standpoint, as the individual department heads, the balances weren't correct by schedule. So the solution is that U.S. Bank then wrote us, as the city, the lump sum check back, at which time I am here to ask you to reappropriate the funding into the proper department budget so that my fellow department heads can make the proper adjustments within there. So what our intent with this additional, with the leftover money, if you will, is to apply it to principal balance. We have all met numerous times and have our budgets prepared for making these payments throughout the appropriate schedule depending on the department. So in talking with the Clerk Treasurer's office and then of course Ms. Gray, you know, it was determined that the fiscally responsible thing to do is just apply the additional money that was unused balance to the principal, therefore we obviously will owe less money in the long run and pay less interest. So that's what I'm here in front of you to do. And as you can see, the funding amounts will then go back into the police budget, our budget at NVH, and then the only caveat to the whole thing is that with the parks budget, Chip and I decided, which I think is wise, he has $8,734.97 remaining out of his original escrow. Quite frankly, that's not going to do much to lower the principal balance of his lease schedule. So we're asking that go back to $400, at which time they have a mower at the cemetery that needs replaced. And so we're just going to use those funds to escalate the improvement of purchasing a new mower at the cemetery.
So Chip's not giving up any money, because I'm gonna have a heart attack.
No. It's the same shit. It's that shit, yeah. Yeah, the same guy. Right, yeah, no.
When I first seen this, I said, man, Chip has his fingers in this somehow.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even sitting, that's how good.
Yeah, so, and we have, honestly, I think the quote came back at like $8,750 for the mower, so I bet we can buy it for $8,734.97 if we try to run.
And Brett, that doesn't run afoul of any of our lease term provisions.
Correct, yeah, we did, yeah, that's correct, that's correct. We confirmed that, yeah, there is no prepayment penalty, there's no, any additional dollar above the payment amount will be applied to principal. And so that's what everybody's still gonna make their scheduled payment, and then these funds will then basically go back to U.S. Bank, but from the proper funding source so that all of our budgets are not impacted.
But to use to buy a mower doesn't run afoul of any lease.
No, it does not,
provisions.
that's
Okay,
correct.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And as is not gonna mess up anything by waiting till the next meeting, correct?
Correct, yeah, no, this was, my original request for them was just to total it up and then redistribute it within their end. Unfortunately, they can't do that. They can't cross over funding through escrows. So the only solution, which is a little bit of a complicated solution, but was just to write us a check back and then me come in front of you and ask that you reappropriate money that we now have.
From their perspective, it's all city money.
Correct.
So they just want to send it back to the city, but from the department head's
Of
perspective,
course.
They want it.
it's our department city. So
Correct.
this is just really making sure all of
Yeah.
the agreements
Taking the
back
city money and putting it in the right
in the right,
silo, if you will, and funneling
exactly,
it
in
properly.
the right pockets that it belongs.
In the future, could this be done different? Or is this actually the smart way of doing it?
But I think the problem is it was a miscommunication on where to pay some of the escrow funding out of. We shouldn't have this issue. We should have gotten money back. Still got the same amount of money back, but it should have been correctly distributed back by the department. There was, like I said, there was just a mix-up where I think the MVH dollars bought a police car. So therefore I was off $31,000 of what should have come back to MVH. The only way to fix that was to do the lump sum return back to the city, and then we redistributed it here at this level instead
These
of.
extra steps too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully we won't have any more issue. But the good news is we had left, we were very successful with negotiating. Because obviously when we started this process, we kind of, we started high, right? And then through negotiation and purchasing powers and things, we were able to come in with a solid amount of money coming back to the city, so.
And what I do want to make clear, because Brett brought this to my attention, no monies went out for things they should not have done.
Correct.
It just helped.
The total balance is correct. I mean, I
Exactly.
scoured it very carefully to make sure that all the vendors were paid in full and correctly. The account the check was written out of was incorrect, but the amounts and everything were correct.
We just had to watch Chip real close because he was wanting everything.
Saying it's had chip all over it when I first seen this.
So it was, obviously it allowed us to operate as department heads within our previously established budgets and make some additional purchases. For example, we were able to purchase 13 police cars. We've kind of been on this 70-year thing, but obviously we were getting out of bounds on how long we were keeping vehicles and different things. So working with the mayor and the different department heads, we figured this was the best, the most responsible way to do this.
You said you were gonna make a long story short.
I tried. I know, I'm sorry. They told me the department meeting's way too long, so I apologize.
Well, but really, what I can say is that what you've done with your leasing to the city has saved our city thousands of dollars, and I appreciate your effort specifically for what you brought to the table. I appreciate that. And, I mean, from the band we just bought the senior center, to the lease program that you've accomplished, and new police cars that you see, and it's just really, a really good job what you're doing. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I do like those designs, Chief, on a patrol cars.
Anybody else? It's introduction only.
Okay.
Thank you, Brett.
No problem. Thank you.
We'll hear it all over again next time.
No, you won't. That's why you're here. Thank you.
A successful graduate of Chip School.
So there isn't any other business, so council member comments, Mr. Abbott?
Yeah, I'd just like to say this is my 14th and final city budget that I've been part of. And I'm happy to say in 14 years, we have never raised taxes. We've survived the tax cuts and we still do. It's tax caps, rather. We've done a lot to this, as you can see, especially over these last 10 years. And I feel, proud that we were able to do that still without having to raise taxes. It seems like raising taxes always seems to be an easy thing to do instead of actually digging down and trying to get to the bottom of where you can save and where you can make money over. And we did a good job. I'm happy to be part of that. I'm happy to be part of everybody that's been on the city council during those times. Happy for the street department this year, fun. Again, bringing them up to stuff with raises, and I know we still have more to go. I'm happy that we kept our credit rating during this whole time, and especially during what do you call it, during the recession. For a community of 22 to 25, depending upon how you count, 25,000 folks, we never had to borrow money to make payroll. We never had to borrow money to pay bills. There's a lot of communities around us and all throughout Indiana that had to do that, you know, to make ends meet until the state, you know, paid them their money back in July. So, again, I'm just bittersweet. That's all I have to say there. And next Tuesday, we have a planning commission meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Hammond.
Thank you.
Mr. Austin?
Well, it looks like we've been doing a lot of street work. You know, I know that we spent about $2 million this year. We're continuing to do a lot of continuing our street work. So I know we're doing some work out in One Star and that area, that's some much needed stuff. And then there's some handicap accessible stuff that we've been doing throughout the city. Sometimes it's tough to drive on that pavement after they've spread that stuff on the road because it'll jack your car up really bad. But yeah, appreciate those efforts, and that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Keith.
Couple of things.
Make a shot.
Make a long story short. And that never happens. Joe, you know, I never really worked much together, but I want to say from a distance, I've appreciated you being what I term a champion for Knollwood Farms. It's too bad you're not going to be on the council once we get the trails and the work redone up on 31, maybe get them better connected
At
to.
least we're kind of getting this started. So
Yeah, you played a role in that, so thank you for that. What came up at a Board of Works meeting a little while ago is that the city has approved the bids for the demolition of the properties in the Youngs Creek development area. That's what I call it.
Youngs Creek Greenways Trails Project.
Okay. We needed an acronym for that. But anyway, now will that money come out of the city money, or does that come out of the bond issue?
Comes out of the bond issue.
Okay, so that's something that RDC will see at some point then, or is that all done through the redevelopment authority?
It's done through the redevelopment authority that Mark Richards, the work that's out there, because the bank has the money,
Yeah,
they will approve it.
they do that then, okay. Yeah. I was want to make sure it's not a city expense then at that point, okay. Relating to that, there will be no RDC meeting this month. Just a couple of things, where we mentioned that is going to be happening as far as tearing down some of those properties and cleaning that up. And finally, I know through some of your efforts, we're finally seeing some action on the Shell building, getting that ready to go, get that completed, or semi-completed so we get that solved. So that's all I have. But again, no RDC meeting will happen this month.
And just to follow up, if you wasn't here for the Board of Works, supposedly 7 days from today, they should start tearing down the Baskin Logan buildings and Dan Paris Record Service that's over in that corner. Graham's will actually, they do not leave, it's in their contract until next June. So we plan on at that point having a contract in place the day they leave, that we can start tearing it down. And we're being told by the engineering firm that by October of 21, we could be opened up for the fall festival there. So hopefully we stay on schedule. So that's what we're hoping for. Thanks.
I can imagine the size of our farmer's market after that, too. Body?
Yeah. Mr. Akers.
Nicely done to DDF and all of our departments for hosting our Franklin Fall Vintage Festival. It was very nicely done. Always a job well done by DDF. Thank you.
Mr. Blankenship.
Well, after 44 years of serving the Johnson County Sheriff's Board, I've settled into retirement pretty nicely. I'm playing more golf than any one person should be allowed.
No, you were going to do more city work, coming and seeing me and saying, hey, Dan, can you take care of this? That's what we're supposed to do.
That's what I should be doing.
Yeah.
But golf's a lot more fun.
Oh,
Yeah, but you never get a day off from retirement.
Yeah.
How you gonna know when you're off? Yeah.
I'll have to address that.
Mr. Richards? Nothing. How about Ms. Rhodes?
Nothing, sir.
Okay, does anyone here want to say anything? I see Mr. Dylan Clark, President of Mayor's Youth Council, is here, so thank you for coming. Nobody wants to say anything, I think we're ready, Mr. Gray, yeah?
Oh.
I think we're ready for a motion to adjourn.
So move. Second.
Second by Mr. Agers, motion by Mr. Austin, all those in favor?
Aye.